Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us. All right, we got Dennis ONeill, CEO, ONeill Capital Advisors. All right, Dennis, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Michael. Happy to be on the show.
All right, you specialize in family office capital raises. Give us some background on that, and then let's get into what you think's going on in the world.
Sure. My background is investment banking, and basically, I spent 25 years in the investment banking market. I started two of the largest regional investment banks here in Chicago, and we raised a couple of $1 billion for early stage companies. And what I've been really focusing on is ICOs, initial coin offerings. And, the ICO market is booming right now. And what we are doing is that we are helping connect investors, family offices, individual investors, etc., into finding and investing in the best ICOs in the market. And I think that what's important about that is that the ICO market is a new market. What it is, it's actually replacing the old venture capital private equity model, which basically most of the early stage companies, they would grovel to a couple of dozen private equity funds, venture capital funds. Most of them would not get funded, and then they would just cherry pick the deals that they were looking to invest in. Mm-hmm. Now what the ICOs are allowing to happen is that it's allowing early stage companies to access capital from individual investors as well as family offices, private equity, and venture capital. But it's really democratizing the investment world, and it's not no longer just for the venture capital, private equity guys.
Now, in that subset that you just mentioned, the early stage companies, what kind of companies are actually having the best success these days?
Well, obviously, it's kind of surprising because a lot of these companies that are really, really early stage and startups are accessing capital at a mind-blowing clip. There's been $6.9 billion raised through May 1st utilizing these ICOs. A lot of that is coming from overseas, Asia, Europe, the Middle East. But the companies that have the best chance of being able to access capital is that first, you have to have an excellent management team, track record of success, and some advisors or board of directors that have at least had some successful exits in the past. Second is that if you have a product or a platform that's actually developed. That increases your chances significantly. And then, obviously, if you have any traction in the marketplace itself, if you have revenues or if you actually, been able to show some type of ramp on the revenue side.
All right. Tell me about the family offices. I want to know which one of them or why they're more valuable than any other group that people would be going to raise capital.
Well, the one thing that you have to understand about family offices is family offices are ultra-rich families that are managing their own money. They're like mini Goldman Sachses. They have their own staff. They have their own analysts. They have their own industry experts, et cetera, et cetera. And what they're looking for is that they're looking to build long-term relationships with these early-stage companies so that it's not just an investment and let's see how you do. But what they're able to do is that they're able to make significant investments into these companies. And then what they'll do is that they'll leverage their network to help make these companies as successful as possible. Obviously that's going to help them, on their return on investment, but it
Sure.
significantly increases the the chances of the company to be successful. Being able to leverage these family office networks.
Yeah, I agree with that. Give the audience an idea. When you say that these are ultra high net worth individuals that have their own staff to manage their own money, give us like a minimum before they really start getting into the family offices so that those that aren't familiar with it.
Typically, family offices that manage money, typically they manage $100 million to tens of billions of dollars. And basically what we're trying to do here, or what we have been, successfully doing, is that we're bridging this it's the largest capital in the marketplace today. These are the difference makers as far as being able to make investments into companies. And what we're trying to do, or what we are doing, is that we are bridging family office, institutional investors from being able to invest into these really, really early stage companies, especially as initial coin offerings, ICOs.
Right.
And basically what we do is that we vet all these ICOs. We go through everything and do a full due diligence on them. And then obviously after we're engaged with the company, and then obviously we do the recommendations directly to the family offices and other institutional type investors.
Okay.
Our firm is considered to be an ICO advisor.
That's where I was going.
Okay, I'm sorry?
That's where I was going.
Okay. Yeah, we're ICO advisors, and basically what we do is that we help the company on every aspect of what they're trying to do: sales, marketing, business development, board representation, giving them connectivity to the top people within their industry, as well as that we have a significant network of investors on a global basis, over 37,000 of them, that we can do capital introductions to as part of the ICO advisory / marketing of the ICO.
So are you also helping them with, because you mentioned marketing, but give me some, open that one up for me. I mean, you helping them design their social media launch, the road shows. I mean, where does that go? Because people they think they get a great idea and the world's going to come, pounding at their door because it's such a brilliant idea, and it doesn't happen. Something else has to happen.
Sure. Well, there's a couple different things. I mean, there's a couple of keys to having a good ICO, I think.
Yeah.
And let me just go through a kind of a checklist here so everybody understands. At first, everything starts and ends with the management team.
Yeah.
If you have a great management team, if you have some people that have a track record of success, especially within this sector of the market itself that you're actually in, that helps significantly. Second is that what stage where the product is. Is it just an idea? What type of development has been done? Is the product developed, or is the platform developed? That stage of investment is going to make a big difference on how successful that you're going to be doing an ICO. Third is that ICOs are based upon blockchain technology. Some companies have moved into raising money via the ICO when they're really not utilizing the blockchain technology. They're just kind of utilizing the name ICO to be able to access money easier. And a lot of the more sophisticated investors will look at that. If you don't have a real case for being able to use blockchain, they'll probably take a pass on the deal. The next one is a white paper. White paper basically is like the business plan that defines basically what you're doing. It's what you send out to the investors. And basically that really entails all the information about the company. Most investors want to be able to see something that has detail in it, that has transparency, shows how, once you raise the money, how you're going to use it, et cetera, kind of like a prospectus or a PPM. And at the level, how easy it is to understand and how in-depth it is going to be a big trigger for the investor. Compliance is another major issue. That's a big thing right now. The SEC is coming down on these ICOs that are not registered with the SEC. Right. There's security tokens, which is an ICO, and there's utility tokens, which are ICOs.
Yep.
The security token has been been registered
Dennis,
with the SEC.
Whoa, hang on. Let's take a break and get into all of that on the other side, because we're going to run into a commercial break. But
okay.
All right. Dennis ONeill, CEO, ONeill Capital Advisors. We'll be right back on the other side of this break with Dennis ONeill. You've been listening to CEO Michael Yorba hosting. Segment brought to you by WFN1. Welcome back to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. All right, Dennis ONeill, ONeill Capital Advisors. All right, Dennis, where we left off, you were talking to us about walking through the processes of what's going on and what to do and what not to do. But before we end the segment, I want to let you tell the audience the kind of companies that are coming through your hands these days, too.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously that we're involved in a couple of different ICOs. We just finished the Trade-Dove one, which we raised they raised $52 million for. The companies that I'm involved now is On.Live, which is a video platform to where that experts can actually live stream their services to where that they can actually give consulting directly online. There's another one that is P2PS, which is a peer-to-peer platform for all transactions on a global basis to where that it will significantly reduce the cost, it'll increase the safety, and it will provide transparency into every transaction on multiple different levels. There's another company called ImpactPPA.com, which is distributed energy in second and third world countries where energy is inconsistent or non-existent or very, very, very expensive. And that's a green energy platform that they're utilizing. Then there's the other company that I'm involved in is called MEVU, MEVU. It's a platform for gambling or betting where that you can bet on literally anything from sports to bets just between friends. And basically it's a peer-to-peer platform where you don't pay any juice.
Whoa.
And so those are the platforms that I'm involved in currently right now.
Wow, I can't wait to talk to them on the show.
Hey, yeah, not a problem. Hey, they'll all be very excited to speak with you for sure.
All right. So what have you done for those companies? We've got about 2 or 3 minutes, so I don't want to run over, but what kind of work did you, because you didn't do the same thing for everybody. You did different things in different places.
Yeah. I mean, basically at the end of the day, what all these companies are looking for is third-party credibility, third-party validation, yep. And to where that they can utilize my relationship and my credibility and my expertise so that we can build a bridge from what they're trying to raise capital to access to the significant network of institutional investors that I'm involved in or our firm is involved in.
Well, let me jump in there. Let me jump in there and throw a couple of questions. Real life stuff. So when you're getting involved with the company, are you saying, look, you don't quite have the right profile for the advisory board? Let me help you out with a couple of guys that I know that can help steer this and help do that. And you really need to restructure your summary, your white paper, or your plan. And I've got people that do that. Is that the kind of guidance that you help them with, aside from just introducing them to people who can invest?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, on every aspect. And not only that, their social media strategy. We have significant contacts into the financial media to where that we can introduce them to people like yourself to where that they can build their audience and their name out there. So, I mean, obviously it's the company, how you position the company, giving them additional exposure to the financial media. And then, the last is capital introductions.
Now, when you say capital introductions, there's all kinds of stages. At what point do you start and how far out does it go?
I don't think I understand the question. I mean, basically what we do is that, after all the due diligence has been done and
right.
that we are 100% certain that we feel that this is a project worthwhile doing and that the risks warrant, taking the chance and that the returns, if successful, will be significant. At that stage, what we'll do is that we'll start introducing, we have 37,000 investors in our network, and they're global. And there's family offices, hedge funds, money managers, crypto funds. Anybody that manages over $100 million is in our network.
That's what I was trying to get at. Okay, go ahead.
What's that?
That's what I was trying to get at, because there's certain stages. I mean, they're past the friends and family round when they meet with you, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, typically we'd like to see, the criteria for us is a good management team, a product that's finished, or a platform that's finished. If it's not finished, that you at least have a demo that's available. And then third is that they'd have raised a decent amount of money. Typically, $500,000 is a minimum, but typically if it's more than $1 million or more, it makes it, it makes it much easier because the bigger investors don't want to be the only investment that they've ever raised. I mean, they typically want to make sure that the company has been able to access at least some capital before them.
All right, Dennis, we got to close out, but we'll be talking. I thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate it.
I thank you so much. All right, Michael, have a great day.
You too.
Bye now.
Dennis ONeill, CEO, ONeill Capital Advisors.